Liar, liar, pants on fire.
What's the matter with you? What are you going on about, liar, liar? What, you turned into a 5-year-old kid in a playground again?
Well, do you know what? I've got a problem.
Well,
And I know it is a big problem because I feel cheated and I feel lied to. So I took up this hobby.
Yeah.
Because I love it.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
Alright?
good. It's good.
And the first thing we did is I loved my Tamiya Mini, and I went Tamiya Mini racing at the Iconic Cup. But I was the only one running a Mini. Everyone was running these low profile shells and long chassis, and it wasn't Mini racing, it was M chassis racing, and I felt a little bit cheated. However, that is nothing compared to the biggest lie I think there is in the world of RC.
Oh, this sounds interesting. I think this is going to be a very controversial video, and I want comments, people. I want comments upon comments. How do you feel about this? But explain, come on, divulge. What are you talking about?
This beautiful piece of machinery here.
Yeah.
This is what I consider to be a vintage car.
That is a vintage car. And
this is a vintage car.
The reason that is a vintage car is because everything on it came out of the box, right? I mean, it's got the original shocks. It hasn't got big bore shocks on it. It hasn't got a brushless motor. That is a brushed motor. It's got a brushed ESC. It's got an old, I don't know what servo it is, but it's an old servo. So everything on that car is as it should be. And the only reason I haven't got an old school ESC is because I can't get older one.
Exactly. But do you know what? It's a vintage car. Would you agree?
Yes, it is.
I'm happy with that. And when I went to my first ever revival, I turned up with a box stock. Granted, it was a re-release, so it's not like pure vintage because I didn't have one, but I wanted to be involved. I did get a re-release, but the re-release is still pretty much a vintage car. It's almost it is box stock, vintage car, Tamiya hotshot, and I got absolutely annihilated. I got beasted.
You got smoked, mate. You did get smoked.
But part of that's because the Tamiya was never really a racer, but I still think I went into that competition with the right ethos, with the right sort of mindset that I was running a vintage car.
So that was a vintage car.
Yeah. The following year I did the same.
I mean,
talk to me because I don't understand. I feel like I'm being cheated, boss.
But that YZ10,
this one,
yeah, there are parts on it that you can no longer get. So to keep that on the track, it has got one or two little added options on it.
Like what?
The lay shaft, the slipper clutch. There's an Avid one, so that's really nice.
Okay.
The belts, I think, are upgraded a bit as well. Brushless ESC, brushless motor in it, but it's not. Yeah,
but you got the original shocks here with the.
I have got the original shocks, and not the big bore ones that the new trick bits YZ10 has got. What are you getting at? You're going to upset. You're going to upset.
I'm not going to upset because it is a lovely car. But where do we draw the line between vintage racing? Yeah, vintage with a few little hop ups to try and keep the vintage car on the road.
Yeah.
And not vintage racing. Where's that line, boss?
Yeah.
Because I don't think.
Do you know what I think it is though? Because it's predominantly blokes, right? It is, isn't it? It's predominantly blokes, right? And blokes, right? They like to tinker and they like to spend their hard-earned money on things, yeah?
Yeah.
I.e. these things. And they cannot help. We cannot help ourselves. We have to hop up things to make them quicker. We can't help it. We can't help it.
This is another thing that bugs me about vintage racing. These cars were never designed to go that fast. And actually, can you remember when we ran our little track over the summer for 2 weeks? And I said, you need to have a go at this, boss. And I gave you my Tamiya Super Hot Shot, and you smiled. Why did you smile?
I didn't smile.
You
I
did
think
smile.
I had something in the corner of my mouth there. I was like, just scratch it off. All right, no, I did smile. It was good.
Why
What
was
can I
it
say?
good?
Because it was designed for that sort of terrain, weren't it?
Running it on grass.
Yeah,
And
right.
actually, slightly slower speeds, those cars are great fun to ride. And I reckon this is probably great fun with the motor that you've got in it. But to keep up with everyone else, you'd have to go brushless.
That is not going to win any races, that car, as is.
Yeah, but... Well,
The thing is, the argument against that, right, a little bit, is that you had to skim you had to get a com lathe and do all that sort of stuff, and between races, and brushless technology is so good, isn't it? It is so good now. ESCs don't overheat. We used to have overheating problems. The radio of yesteryear was pretty not. I can't swear, but it wasn't great. It was glitching and everything. You had to put capacitors on the brushed motors, which actually that one's got, because that is out of an old car. But I hear you. I do hear you, and I don't know where you draw the line, mate. I really don't. But essentially, the old school vintage scene here in the UK is absolutely thriving.
is mega.
And you've got the good thing is, right, you've got companies like VRS right here, VRS, who supplied some parts for this, JC Racing, who do the wheels and other bits and pieces, and these are predominantly smallish companies who are making parts for these cars. So in some respects, I think that's really nice. I think that's really good to see people engineering and 3D printing things and keeping our vintage cars out of museums and still on the track.
I get that. I think that is positive.
Yeah.
And had those companies not been around, you wouldn't have been able to run that Predator at the race at the weekend.
No.
But if I wanted to race two-wheel drive next year, okay, this is the problem I've got. I could, again, Schumacher, re-released, you can pretty much go there and you can buy yourself a two-wheel buggy straight away. A classic.
Yeah.
But the cars that I saw on the track, they weren't.
They were souped up, weren't they?
They were a bit.
But they are, boss. They are these people's babies. You've seen the pictures they post. Before the race meeting, everyone was posting pictures of their cars, pride of place. They just got them on the workbench, got them race prepped and ready. They polished the shell. They've done everything to it.
I haven't got time. I would do so many different things on this channel. I haven't got time. I just want to buy a car, build the car, race the car.
I know.
Not build a car, then replace every single part on it to build a second car, just so that I can compete against a car that should be this car.
But you just got to let people do what they want to do, brother. If people want to shoot their cars up, let them. Right, folks, let them. Just relax. Just don't whinge when you get beaten by Trigger's broom. I.e., the only thing that's original is the chassis. Everything else is like hopped up.
Or the wheel nut.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
Are you on Team Carl or are you on Team Mark with this one? Where do you sit? What side of the line are you on?
Yeah.
I personally would quite like to see some of the vintage classes being slowed down a bit. I reckon maybe a cap on the speed of the motors, just so it... I don't know, I think it brings a little bit more of the character back to the cars.
Yeah, true. And they're not designed for these brushless motors, really, are they? They were never designed for the amount of torque that goes through the gearbox and things like that. So, yeah, maybe you're right.
Maybe we could do, as part of a pop-along GP next year, if we do two-wheel drive, vintage four-wheel drive, maybe we do a control motor.
Why don't
Or
you...
like 17.5 turn or something.
Yeah, why don't we go back to like...
21.5?
What, you're talking brushless?
We'd go brushless because, as you say, reliability issues. Or you could go Core 21 because we know that they work.
Core 21 are good.
And
What are they like in the buggies, though?
During the Iconic Cup, the core motors are...
Yeah, but that was on
smooth terrain.
Smooth terrain.
So maybe 17.5 brushless. And cap it.
Stock.
And have like a stock
like
vintage class.
The just stock ESC.
Yeah, and have
all that.
So a little bit more control. It might actually compact the field a little bit.
People
compact the field.
They'll moan and go, I've got to go buy another ESC and motor now.
But what you said earlier, they like spending money and hopping up their cars.
That's true. So
We're giving you something to spend money on.
So maybe we'll do that. But
It might just compact the field a little bit.
Yeah, it might do. Yeah. I don't know. The thing is with stock classes though, everybody ekes stuff. But then again, if it's brushless,
True, actually.
if it's brushless, you can't be water dipping motors and all that, and buying 10 of them and testing them and getting the fastest ones, which we know you do out there.
Yeah,
we've
but
been
again,
told about that.
We've experienced it with the touring cars and stuff like that. Whenever you make it a stock class, people spend more money on a 17.5 ton motor compared to a... Yeah.
People like to win. You know what it is, essentially? It all boils down to taking a little plastic trophy home to the wife. You open the door, you know, after race day, you're tired out, you're done, and the missus goes, how did you get on?
You just pull out a trophy.
And you pull out a
behind its
trophy,
back.
and your wife hugs you and says, that's brilliant, well done, I'm going to give you something special tonight for all your efforts.
Now, Mark,
Yeah.
either you've not won many trophies
Well,
or you've bumped your head.
yeah, well, my wife does not do that.
Or does mine.
They don't care, do they? So we can say what we like in here because they never watch our videos.
Yeah,
do they?
most of the people watching this have already turned off.
Yeah, do get the odd trophy. They don't let you put it on the shelf, do they?
No. Mine are in my special room.
You got a special room.
Yeah, it's my trophy room.
That's good.
It's not very big.
No. Well, that's what she said.